Yes.
Thank you very much. He doesn't have it and he's in another meeting.
No worries. Done.
Thank you.
AJ, are we recording?
Not
Yes.
yet.
Okay. Thank you. Would you like to go over the instructions?
Yes, let's start. When he comes, I will stop and then he can give his greetings.
All right, so I can cover the slide. So this conference is being recorded for NASA use. Please save your questions until the end. The FAQ on Inspires will be updated with general questions raised today. You're probably familiar with the FAQ document that is posted on the solicitation page. It's updated periodically, and this is for equal opportunity to information. All your questions will be answered publicly in that document. So please visit the FAQs regularly before the proposal due date for updates. Also, the recording and presentation slides will be posted on the Inspires website. And we're talking about the Appendix and MUREP DEAP.
We can continue. Next slide.
Should we switch to your part? Or
yes, please switch to my part.
There we go.
Okay, next slide. So the MUREP Research and Education Project is focusing on underserved and underrepresented communities like the Native Americans, Hispanics, PBIs, NBI. Oh, he's here. And you can go into the eons and you will see the different definitions of what that means. So Beata Tori's here.
Absolutely. Let's move back.
Yeah.
Here we go. Tori, stage is yours. AJ, could you unmute Tori?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I will start by offering my apologies for my tardiness and for my technical difficulties. I am joining you from Texas Southern University, HBCU, here in Houston, Texas, for our annual road tour event. And so I am really excited to welcome you today to this particular topic on data science and artificial intelligence and machine learning. We can go to the next slide. So I'm also going to give a brief overview of STEM engagement. Here you just see what's really important to us is engagement of students. And so we do that with that vision of immersing students in NASA's missions, and that's literal, getting them involved in NASA's work. whether that be through internships or fellowships or through pathways opportunities. And we do that by increasing the literacy of students in STEM and overall engaging them in the work. And so on the bottom, you see 3 strategic goals talking about creating unique opportunities for students to engage in STEM, making sure that there's a diverse future STEM workforce, and that all students or diverse groups of students are able to engage in NASA's efforts. Next slide, please. Thank you. So may be difficult for you to see. Those strategic goals are centered in the middle of this slide, but on the left, we recognize that what drives the work that we do are the mission directorates, the work that they do in earth sciences or HELIO or HEO, human exploration, or space technology and the like. Those things allow us within the Office of STEM Engagement to create opportunities and efforts that benefit students. And you see that on the far right, K-12 all the way up to the post-graduate level. Next slide. So here, I won't read the slide for you, but it is just a commitment by our NASA administrator to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And we spent some time on that here this week with our colleagues here in Houston, talking about the vital role that having all voices participate in STEM, removing as many barriers as possible, and making sure that there's greater access and inclusion for everyone is how we do big things at NASA. Next slide, please. So briefly, within this strategy, I just want you to know on the far right that we are committed to focus on areas around broadening student participation, which we just discussed. There is a heavy emphasis on partnerships and collaborations. So what that means, similar to the proposals that we hope you submit, that we cannot go it alone. Generally, when we go further, we go together. And so we're encouraging and fostering an environment that partnerships and collaboration are what's key. And then lastly, there's an emphasis, not just this year, but especially in this year for K through 12, because we understand that engaging minds younger allows them to understand content and hopefully develop and foster their STEM identity. Next slide. Again, we just talked about broadening student participation, so we'll go to the next slide. And where are we headed? So these efforts, albeit intentional and targeted, aid us in meeting our respective goals with respect to performance and evaluation. And then we're also expanding partnerships, as you see, with other federal agencies, the National Science Foundation, Department of Defense, education, et cetera. And when we leverage these partnerships strategically, it allows us to grow our influence and our networks to address underserved and underrepresented populations. Next slide. So with that, I am again going to welcome you. I really want you to take heart into what is being shared for this particular opportunity. We understand that there's a significant divide in particular areas of STEM, and data science is one of those. And so we are really committed financially and with our subject matter expertise to bring this new opportunity to you. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Evelina and the team and wish you well. If there are further questions, you can drop those in the chat and the team will make sure to address them. So thank you so much for your time and attention today.
Thank you, Tori. Okay, next slide. And next slide. So the NASA MSI exchange is in particularly important for this solicitation, because that's where you can go and find collaborators because as you heard, DEAP is a collaboration among universities. Therefore, leveraging the technology to drive participation and research, which is what we are looking for in this solicitation. Next slide. So MUREP vision has 4 pillars of investment and engagement: the research infrastructure and capacity building, the curriculum development and service provider resources, student engagement that you heard Tori talking about, and partnership and sustainability that we are looking for in the DEAP solicitation. We are concentrated into the research infrastructure and capacity building. That's where DEAP sits. Next. James? Then James is going to give us an overview of why you're here.
Sorry about that.
About the DEAP solicitation. I was ready to engage, James.
I was actually preparing myself and lost my mute button. Next slide, please. Okay, so the focus here is focused to research along with building capacity. So the priority here is to make sure that we can strengthen and develop the research capacity and infrastructure of MSIs. There was a major development in our collaborations with the National Academies of Science and Medicine, Engineering and Medicine, to study the importance of data science and artificial intelligence, and what was determined by a fairly large group of experts with that was that state-of-the-art science education is now happening at the intersection of data science and the physical and natural sciences. So we knew it was imperative that if we were graduating a number of students from our minority institutions, and our institutions weren't having the ability to offer that curriculum and have faculty developed to train to do the research, that something like DEAP was needed. So we really wanted to seek awards to understand the structure and function of the research capacity and infrastructure, enhance the capability of the institution to participate in a broad impact base of research. So what DEAP does is provides cross-cutting capacities for the institutions to become very valuable partners in a number of lines of business with the agency, while we promote additional opportunities for continuous learning through collaboration and producing tutorials, participating in peer learning events. So you'll see as these roll out that the awardees, you will be participating in a lot of other activities that NASA will be promoting related to building capacity for data science. It is one of our leading efforts in the agency right now. Next slide. Again, these are our objectives. I touched on them a little bit: develop research capacity and infrastructure. We want to definitely facilitate a broad impact base. This isn't an effort to reward the privileged. This is an effort to bring up a huge community from everyone who's being introduced to data science to those that may have already have centers of excellence in artificial intelligence. We want to promote additional opportunities for continuous learning through collaboration. Again, I talked about those peer learning experiences. We have a number of organizations within our artificial intelligence community of practice that will be conducting a lot of exercises, activities like hackathons, promoted towards bringing up the community. Next slide. Again, develop the culture of collaboration. This is a big issue for us. Another core need of the Science Mission Director and our partner is the ability to collect, store, manage, and analyze and distribute data. big part of that is our collaboration with the Transformation to Open Science. We'll be talking about that a little bit. And each of the science divisions is very active and very hungry to have the unique perspective of underrepresented minority institutions to generate, analyze, and provide breakthrough science discoveries from their line of business. We have case studies in the appendix for each one of those lines of businesses that give you an opportunity to choose them for a mentored partnership for research and for developing opportunities for students. Next slide. These are some of the things that are general in scope that are challenging for the agency. So seasonal and annual and sub-decadal data science models are particularly encouraged. These are the big challenges for us. We want to build and broaden the skill sets for contributing to these big challenges. We want proposed investigators to focus on data science capabilities. Again, another thing, we're looking to bring up a whole community, new community, to participate in these breakthrough research opportunities. Again, we want to respond to the 3 objectives that we went through earlier. We want proposed activities to address the requirements outlined in the appendix and in the broader engagement in NASA STEM. Tori talked about some of those. All proposals shall contain a data management plan. Again, that's another thing that promotes our ability to deliver open science, science for all. In the past, we didn't require this much. Proprietary data management plans were implemented, and we had a tremendous amount of difficulty sharing data and getting new opportunities for discovery from that data because of the proprietary nature of the data was stored and distributed. And then data produced under resulting cooperative agreements shall be archived in our data science archive and storage system within the data management requirements. Again, we're standardizing the way we can do that to promote openness of data opportunities, particularly for those who have been underrepresented in the field. Next slide. Things to budget for, key things. Student support. Again, this is about bringing up a whole new community and inspiring students. I've given talks about data science. The field of data science has experienced a 650% increase in job growth. So preparing students for this new field and these opportunities and what we're doing here at NASA, all of our new science objectives require some type of autonomous activity. The more difficult our missions become, the less we see that we have an opportunity as humans to carry out communications with those missions. And so those missions must be done through autonomy without human in the loop. And that's what artificial intelligence does. Next slide. Did you get it? Next slide, please. Okay. Proposals. We shall identify the PI and all funded co-investigators as established in Inspires. These will be checked for compliance and undergo peer review. Proposal titles, science goals, and objectives are required. The mentors are available to make sure that to be of assistance with these. Feel free to contact those mentors and make sure that you can understand what their objectives are. They can't tell you how to do it, but they can tell you more about clarity about what they're doing. Proposals shall also include biographical sketches and CVs. Additional biographical sketches and CVs are required for your team members. We expect this to be rigor in terms of review. So feel free to please provide more information rather than less. The proposal shall contain a description of the science goals and objectives, the methodology, and how the proposed project aligns and supports the National Co-STEM effort, the NASA Office of STEM Engagement effort, and MUREP. Again, don't forget to clearly understand what the Science Mission Directorate and the Transformation to Open Science, as they are strategic partners for us. So you really want to understand the relation of the science that you're studying along with these that are being listed in the slide. Next slide. Final proposals. The process for preparation and submission proposals shall follow those outlined in the EONS solicitations, section 5. Team member changes are permitted with proper notification to the POC. That's Dr. Evelina. Next slide. Well, partnerships are required. Proposals are encouraged to demonstrate partnerships or collaboration among a broad range of entities. Again, including academic institutions, government agencies, business and industry, private research foundations, and nonprofit agencies. This was a finding from our National Academy's effort for understanding how to do it. They basically said these types of collaborations produce the best results. Partnerships shall include letters of support from the partners. We need to have demonstrated interest in writing, that whatever's being written and what people and what partners are being, what their goals are, what they're going to be held accountable for, those things be presented in writing. We want to know how the proposed teams and collaborators will increase data science. This is very important. This is very important. We really want to see the vision of how faculty member professional development is going to happen within those partnerships of academic institutions, government agencies, businesses, and industry. We want to see how student outcomes are going to be obtained. Those are the way that we're going to bring up the community. Next slide. Eligibility, I'll refer all of this back to Dr. Evelina.
All proposals should be, the lead institution should be PBIs and HBCU college or universities, but you can collaborate with MSIs and non-MSIs. And if you have questions regarding any institution eligibility, you can look at the MSI exchange that we talk about it, or you can send me an email and then I will respond to your inquiries. Next. So the proposal evaluation has to be really looking at the relevance to the NASA objectives, the intrinsic merit, the budget cost, the collaboration plan, and the management plan, even though it doesn't say it there, but we said it before, and the STEM engagement, how you engaging the students to participate in the project that you are submitting. Next. So I'm not going to read all of this, but again, the evaluation is the technical relevance, the education relevance, the intrinsic merit, the management plan, the collaboration plan. So all your proposal, go section by section. So like that, when reviewers are looking at your proposal, they see that you have a coherent project that they should evaluate. Next. Again, the budget is, you have to be detailed on how you're going to spend that money and align with the budget guidelines and requirement outlined in Appendix N.2.2. Next, we have talked about it, so I'm not repeating myself or James for that matter. So the funding, again, is going to be awarded to the PBIs and HBCU as the lead institution. Subcontract, partnership, and any other agreements within the proposing team are with the lead institution and not with NASA. This is very important. So you have to look at the guidelines and make sure that you are in compliance. The lead institution may subcontract other HBCUs and PBIs as part of the DEAP Institute Consortium. The NASA is not party to such subcontract. Other MSIs that are non-HBCUs can also be subcontracted as part of the DEAP Institution Consortium. But 20% of the funding can be used for such subcontracts. Again, NASA does not has a role in your subcontracts. Next. So the total expected budget for the 3 years for the DEAP activity is $1.5 million. We are anticipating that we will have 3 to 4 awards. The duration will be 3 years, and it will be a cooperative agreement. I'm the POC for this activity. I'm the activity manager. And the selecting officer is Tori Johnson. We talked to you all a few minutes ago. Next. Again, a proposer may contact NASA Center or STEM offices to find NASA partners. And you have, and this presentation is going to be available on Inspires. Next. The key information are in these proposal guidelines, the EON 2022 NRA, the NASA Grant and Cooperative Agreement Manual, and the 2022 NASA Guidebook for Proposers. Please check those. It's important that you get familiar with it. Next. The frequently asked questions documents, you will find it in the DEAP landing page in Inspires. This is our pre-proposal slides, transcript and record will be there. Record will be there, not record, record. And it is the responsibility of you as proposer to be checking Inspires for updates to the solicitation. NASA exclusively uses Inspires for the communication between proposers and POCs and people at NASA. Next. So September 14 today is our teleconference. The proposals are due in October 24 at 5 p.m. The selection will be made 2 to 3 months from that due date. The awards will be then within 6 months for that. And the project start date, proposal due date will be 6 months from the due date. Next. So questions regarding this NOFO or its activities should be directed to the Cognizant Activity Manager, identify. Any clarification or questions, as we said before, should be published in the Inspires. So your question today or the ones that you go and do in the Inspires, all of those will be responded in Inspires. It's not going to be a direct email toward your questions. And all of them should be submitted in writing. The DEAP landing page is your friend until we finish with until we get to the due date. Next. So things that we need to note for a successful proposal. Make sure you read the solicitation in its entirety, because the reviewers will notice if you didn't. If you have any question, please ask. Don't assume anything. Be sure your proposal is compliant with the guidelines defined in the guidebook for proposer. Check that your submission has all required elements. Do not leave submissions to the last minute. Reviewers can identify rush submission. Check for spelling, syntax, and grammar. Make sure your proposal is a hypothesis-driven and that with the first page of your proposal, the reader knows what you plan to do. This is very important. Next. Make sure your proposal can be understood by a non-expert and that it has a logical flow. 15 pages will never be enough to provide the details needed. Provide enough information so that a non-expert will be able to follow your ideas. Use your space wisely. Make sure the references you utilize are accessible and help provide the scientific basis for the work you're proposing. Reviewers will check out the references. Use figures and tables in a clear way that help your proposal. Make sure they are readable. Make sure that within the first page of your proposal, the reader knows what you plan to do. Yes, some things are worth saying more than once or highlighted to draw attention. Ask for help, reach out to other peers, experts that have done proposal before if this is your first time. Next. And I think we have covered this. Make sure your abstract and introduction really reflect the work you plan to develop. Make sure you have reviewed the relevant literature and has been done to address the issue you also plan to tackle. Clearly describe how you plan to advance the state of knowledge and what you will do to mitigate risk. For your proposal, take advantage of this opportunity to get feedback from experts. Make sure it is clear, catchy, and contains enough details for the reviewers to understand what you plan to do. This is important because as we are talking about data science, this is new ideas, new innovations that we would like to see in your proposals. Next. Make sure everything is spelled out and define acronyms. I know that NASA love acronyms, but if you put it into your proposal, please spell it out. Make sure roles, responsibilities of all team members are clearly outlined and defined in the proposal. Avoid typos, dense pages with hard to follow text. Copy pasting sometimes from all proposals doesn't make it clear in the new one. Fishing trips, the reader has to go look for information to understand what you are referring to. Please avoid that. And lack of relevance to the call. Talk to the team, have a coherent management plan and a coherent collaboration plan. We are always looking for reviewers serving in a panel, and it's a great way to learn how things look on the other side. So if you haven't been a reviewer in a NASA proposal before, ask your colleagues at your universities or other universities, and they can give you some pointers. Next. Is all yours, Beata.
Thank you. My internet is shaky, so I'm going to stay off video to prevent this crazy freeze on the screen.
Yeah.
All right, so now that you know what you need to do, how your proposal should look like, what it should contain, I'm going to talk briefly about how to submit your proposal. So proposals need to be submitted through Inspires only. Inspires is the NASA solicitation and proposal integrated review and evaluation system. This is the web-based system upon that supports NASA research from the release of the solicitation announcement through the peer review and selection process. So those of you that don't have accounts in Inspires, please log in, create an account, and do it as soon as possible. Proposals will be submitted by the authorized organization representatives, AORs, and this is somebody responsible from your organization to submit the proposals. I'm going to skip that one because I just realized that we have the more updated version. But just to let you know that as an individual, you can register at any time. However, as an organization, if your organization is not registered, they need to go through some elaborate process to do that. So please contact Help Desk as soon as possible to get the process started. Proposal submission requirements, as you heard that before, start early. If this is a new platform for you, please take the time to spend some time to familiarize yourself with the system, with the requirements, with how to access certain functions. It's very user-friendly, but you need to do your fair share to spend some time to learn it. We will post the Inspires Help Desk information in terms of number, email address. They're very responsive, but they work Monday through Friday from 8 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So plan accordingly. Remember to start early. Registration, as I said before, registration may take some time, so you don't want to leave it until the last moment. Technology has the tendency to go down at inconvenient times, such as within hours of the proposal due date. So note that proposal due time here is on Eastern Time Zone. As a reminder, it's October 24th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't leave it until the last moment. All proposals must comply with the NASA Guidebook for Proposals. You will be talking about budget and letter of support just as it's outlined in the solicitations. We briefly talked about the review and selection process. This is the standard bullet points about evaluating proposals through a combined online and a panel review process. Then awards will be made contingent upon the availability of sufficient funds. And of course, NASA reserves the right to make judgments during the final selection based on the programmatic factors, including overall balance of viable proposals. And if you propose at the end of the selection process, you will receive a notification, whether it's a selection or non-selection letter. Important takeaways. Proposals must identify all persons with a significant role. So whether it's a PI or team member or collaborator, they all need to be registered in Inspires. Inform your team members that they will be notified via email from Inspires. This is an automated email when added to a proposal. And this email will provide instructions on how to access the statement of commitment and link. As I said before, proposals are submitted by AORs. And any assistance with registration and proposing process can be found under Help I think I skipped a slide, so I'm going to go back and show you this slide. This is the landing page of Inspires. That's where you will be when you enter the system. I want to bring your attention to two places. On the right, the yellow circle, create an account. That's where you click to register. And on the top left, help. This tab has lots of resources for available help. So just to summarize it one more time, your pre-work will be to identify the AOR from your institution that will be submitting the proposal for you and register in Inspires. Make sure that you collaborate with the AOR to let them know that proposal will be coming, not hours before the due date, but probably days. Find out what their process is for submission so you're not surprised at the end. And then check Inspires frequently. That's where we post updates, extensions, appendices. So please check in frequently. We will post the slides online with help desk information. As I said, their email and phone number, they're very helpful. Just please reach out. As a final reminder, just make sure that this is your responsibility to ensure that your proposal is submitted. We are here to assist you, and please notify us early if you need assistance. Concludes our presentation.
Yes, and I see that James had been answering some questions. James is the technical person for this solicitation, and I'm the education person for the solicitation. So you can address your questions into the Inspire, and then we will answer those questions.
Absolutely, you're right. So yeah, and please submit those, and we will funnel them to the appropriate team, and we will post them so that everyone can understand how. Again, what I said in the chat, we want proposals to be as accurate to what we are looking for as possible, and be able to facilitate the most successful proposals so that the agency can benefit from this wonderful community and what you guys have to bring with us for us in terms of new thought, new strategies, and new outcomes. And so those use case mentors are very excited to work with each and every one of you. These are living use cases. These aren't episodic. So no matter what happens, you could still reach out to me after this is over, not during the time, but you can reach out to me after this is over if you see interest with any of this potential research and you're still interested in participating with NASA towards advancement of the goals of those case studies.
The landing page is for technical and educational questions. So since it's a general, I'm answering right now because this is general, and I will answer it in the landing page anyway.
Thank you. And we will capture all questions from chat, and we will post them as FAQ on the solicitation page. Preferably, please direct all your questions in writing to murepdeap@nasaprs.com, the email address that was provided.
And the cases are in the solicitation. So when you read them, you're going to find the different cases that NASA has for this solicitation. Like I said, read from the beginning to the end, because you will get the information that you're looking for according to the questions that I see in the chat right now.
So Evelina, there's a general question that you could certainly clear up. Someone in the audience saw 1.5 and they fail to connect, that 500 per year times 3 is 1.5.
Yes, is for the 3 years, not
Mhm.
for 1 year. And a maximum of 3 institutions. That's what the solicitation is for.
Another general question, should we contact OSTEM to be connected to NASA's Science Mission Director? That is a viable strategy. However, we list Science and Mission Directorate subject matter experts in the EON solicitation. So you probably want to go through there first and see if there's something that is of interest to you. You can work with that person with SMD. If there is not someone there, and you have something else that you think you might be interested in that has a competitive edge for a data science, artificial intelligence, or machine learning application, feel free to contact a NOSTEM representative, and we'll make sure that you get to the appropriate person for your idea.
Yes, the 1.5 million for the 3 years is per project. If you are awarded, that's for the project.
All right, here's another interesting one. Can more than one proposal per institution?
That will have to go into advisement because it doesn't appear in the solicitation. So
Okay.
there's no limitations in the solicitation.
Mhm. Another question, do we need computer science or engineering faculty in the team? The answer is no. Your ability to demonstrate whoever is on the team, the competency of the team to obtain the objectives of the research and education and capacity building concept is what's key. So if you have the appropriate composition of a team that can do what you say that you can do, that's how you will be judged.
Well, I don't think we have any more questions. Thank you for your attendance today. You have been great, very active participants, and we hope to see your questions in our landing page, and we definitely will answer in Inspires all the questions that appear today. I hope to see a lot of your proposal coming in.
This is going to be really cool stuff, folks.
Yes.
So you really want to look hard. If you don't have team members, Dr. Evelina Felicity talked about the MUREP exchange. The MUREP team is very open and willing to help you find partners. We're looking at partnerships of 3 institutions so that we could bring up an entire community of HBCUs and PBIs. So again, if you're looking for partners, the MUREP exchange is a perfect place to start.
I would like to see your faces before you go. It's always good to put a face and a name together. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes,
Thank you very
yes.
much.
Yes, I think I heard Todd was out there. He might be gone. I'm familiar with a number of people that are on the line in your institution. So
Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming.
yes.
And I hope to see your names in proposal coming our way.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again, everyone. We look forward to hearing your wonderful ideas. They're not, again, this is not systemic. Your ideas won't just be tossed. We'll still be looking to find a way to engage our community. So if the work that you put in to submit proposals, we'll still be looking at them as competency. Some of those competencies we want to make sure get included into the MSI exchange for future opportunities. We have scientists all the time asking us, are there people out there that we can work with? So the content from your proposals will be looked to facilitate that competency in the exchange so that when we have future inquiries for other programs like EPSCoR, your opportunities and your capacity should be able to be recognized. So please, this is not an episodic event. This is a way for us to better understand the community and the capacity to conduct machine learning and artificial intelligence. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Beat.
Thank you, Beata.
Thank you, everybody. AJ, you can stop recording.
Thank you, AJ.